In today's breaking story, a Donald Trump appointed judge just handed him a major loss, and I have all the details that include a description of the ruling as forcefully and the judge dropping the word smear on Trump coming up next. Trump was very well known for using lawfare to crush his real estate and personal opponents when he was a private citizen. If he couldn't win the case, he still derived pleasure by making them suffer through the process. And he'll go down in history as the lawfare president for weaponizing the DOJ and shaking down his enemies with threats of legal action. So when a federal judge strikes back, it is uniquely satisfying for us lovers of democracy. In just a minute, I'll share what the judge did today that blindsided Trump. But first, I want to share another new legal Trump matter that is definitely headed for the courts. Yesterday, he announced that flag burners will get an automatic one-year sentence, just as a flag was being burned by a veteran outside of the White House, and just as archived video footage was surfacing of Supreme Justice Scalia saying it's a protected activity. Have a look.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail, no early exits, no nothing.
Wherever you feel that you may want to express yourself. There's a First Amendment right to burn the American flag.
If I were king, I would not allow people to go about burning the American flag. However, we have a First Amendment which says that the right of free speech shall not be abridged, and it is addressed in particular to speech critical of the government. I mean, that was the main kind of speech that tyrants would seek to suppress. Burning the flag is a form of expression. Speech doesn't just mean written words or oral words. It could be semaphore. Burning a flag is a symbol that expresses an idea. I hate the government is unjust, whatever.
In the end, and no one knows the Constitution better than you do, doesn't it come down to your personal interpretation of the Constitution? If it isn't clear-cut, which it clearly isn't.
Well, don't forget, this person has to be convicted by a jury of 12 people who unanimously have to find that he was inciting to riot. So, it's not all up to me. It would be up to me to say that there was not enough evidence for the jury to find that, perhaps. But ultimately, the right of jury trial is the protection.
Yep, I'm being detained because I expressed my First Amendment right to burn the United States flag in public, not causing harm or causing any danger to any citizens or personnel in the area.
At this moment in time, I don't know what charges that man will face, if he's at risk for any serious jail time, and if his case will land in the courts. But I do know that the courts just landed a mighty blow on Donald Trump, as described in a Politico headline that reads, Trump-appointed judge rebukes White House for smear of judiciary.
A federal judge has forcefully rejected a highly unusual lawsuit the Trump administration filed against 15 other judges whom the Justice Department accused of hindering the president's mass deportation agenda. In tossing out the lawsuit, U.S. District Judge Thomas Cullen, a Trump appointee, lamented what he described as the White House's months-long smear of the federal judiciary. The policy was adopted in May in a standing order signed by the chief federal district judge in Maryland, George Russell III, an Obama appointee. The Maryland court described the policy as a way to ensure the judges have time to consider immigration cases amid rapid-fire mass deportation efforts. The Justice Department argued that the policy operates as an illegal automatic injunction against the administration's deportation efforts. The policy is a particularly egregious example of judicial overreach interfering with executive branch prerogatives, the department alleged. The administration's lawsuit in Maryland came amid an avalanche of harsh verbal attacks the White House has unleashed against judges across the country who have ruled against Donald Trump's immigration measures. Cullen, who is based in Virginia, denounced those attacks in his ruling on Tuesday. Although some tension between the coordinate branches of government is a hallmark of our constitutional system, Cullen continued, this concerted effort by the executive to smear and impugn individual judges who rule against it is both unprecedented and unfortunate. Cullen served as a Trump-appointed, Senate-confirmed U.S. attorney in Roanoke, Virginia from 2018 to 2020, before being confirmed to the district court there at the end of Trump's first term. The administration filed its lawsuit in Maryland, but all of the district judges in Maryland were forced to recuse themselves because they were named as defendants. So the case was assigned to Cullen. Cullen emphasized the extraordinary and, in his view, improper nature of the lawsuit.
It is not every day that we see a Trump-appointed judge break ranks and slap the guy who put him on the bench. But that's what just happened here, and it speaks volumes. Judge Cullen didn't just rule against Trump, he called out the White House for waging a smear campaign against the judiciary. That kind of language is rare, and it shows just how egregious Trump's attacks on judges have become. Trump thinks that every judge he nominates owes him loyalty, like a mob boss expecting his captains to kiss the ring. But here's the reality check. Federal judges don't work for Donald Trump. They work for the Constitution. And to bring this story full circle, I'm going to remind you of what the late Anthony Scalia said in the other clip about flag burning. He used a word that begins with T that describes Trump to a T in all of his corruptive lawfare actions.
And it is addressed in particular to speech critical of the government. I mean, that was the main kind of speech that tyrants would seek to suppress.
I hate Occupy Democrats.